doing this. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 4 of the oNiD Racing Stronger Formula Club series. We're coming to you this week from I think it's a new track for us here at oNiD. And we are coming to you live from Sachsenring. Joining me in the booth this evening, it is once again Jarrett Page. Jarrett, good to have you back with us.
Hey, good evening. It's a good day here. Excited for seeing this new track and see how our drivers are able to take it on. I can't say I'm particularly familiar with it either, so it's definitely going to be a bit of a ride as everyone gets acclimated.
Well, I've done it on Race Room. I've never done it on AC, so we'll see how the cars adapt to the differing physics. I do have a new treat for us on the stream. We have a track map, just to give us a little illustration of this little ribbon of German tarmac. 13 turns, tight technical section, followed by a very fast up and downhill blast. So it's going to be an interesting evening for these guys. I think this is a new one for just about everyone.
Yeah, this last sector does look like it's going to be really interesting, as it's likely in these F4 cars to be flat out as we're following Angela Scotti. They are pegged to the throttle as they go through that first part of the sector, and as they get into the penultimate corner, onto the brakes pretty heavily for just a moment before being right back onto the throttle. Nice little rhythm that you're able to pick up here and back onto the throttle with a little bit of a wobble as they pull up the hill. And currently lap times are looking around 121 until Johan Karlzak pips in a 120, dropping Scotti down to P2, and a number of times are coming in now as people are trying to get everything warmed up and into pace, and we're going to see who's going to be able to learn this track the fastest and really set themselves up for success for this first race.
Yep, Zach Finney coming in there to split the difference between Martinez and Karolzak with that 1 minute 20.7. That's 3 very fast times at the top of the field there. And it's those 3 again, really, isn't it? Martinez has been up there, hasn't had the luck in the races. Scotty's right there with them, but Jan Karolzak and Zach Finney very much at the front of the field at the moment. But that's not going to help Zach Finney as he runs off into the gravel.
Yeah, playing in the sand isn't going to do you any favors here. Looking at sort of our layout of the track, it doesn't look like there's anywhere that you're really in danger of absolutely destroying your car. A few of these high-speed corners do have not so much runoff where it's not a big risk, but there's plenty of sand to try to bring down the speeds before you find any of the walls here. Definitely be something to look out for as we see a few cars trying to get out of the way out of people on flying laps.
Yeah, it's a very FIA complicit track, if that makes... Complicit's probably the wrong word. FIA standard track. Makes it sound like a war crime. Yeah, compliance. That was the word I was looking for.
They're complicit with these ideals.
Not really a F1 grade track. I think it's a T2 grade track, so it's mainly used for touring cars and these lower formula cars. So it's...
Yeah, I've seen some DTM raced here at the Sachsenring. I think it's largely a pit a pit space issue.
Yeah.
Where the track looks to be pretty it's a pretty standard older racetrack. It's not quite the crimes of a Tilka track, even though I am a Tilka apologist in some places.
Absolutely.
But it is definitely a this is certainly a racetrack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really nice track, but it's got some little quirks to it. It doesn't have that amount of paddock space that you see at the bigger tracks, but the fact that DTM do run GT3 machinery and used to run the Class A cars around here, it's a testament to show that it's a raceable track, as we watched Diana Bullock deciding not to do the lap there. See, I think Jati Kanoji is about to start a lap, so let's go on board, see what a lap of Sachsenring is like as we come into the last couple of minutes of this session. It drops down. This is turn 1, Coca-Cola curb. And it's just falls away from you through this technical section. Oh, but Jatin gets it onto the gravel because I've apparently cursed him, and apparently leaves the server by accident. There, that's a different situation there.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
See if we can get a full lap with someone. That's Michael Hassanal. He's just coming up to the last corner, so we'll see if he goes for another lap. He's not far off the pole pace here. About a second away from Johan, but we know that we've seen Michael have pace before. Drops down to... Reminds me a bit of Hungaroring, this first corner, the way it drops away from you, and then it's a twisty technical section that's really going to test these drivers.
Yeah, it's not exactly a hairpin, but it is definitely a big drop of speed that you're going to have to do as you go through there, and figuring out what that best line is going through turn one. I feel like it'll present a few good opportunities for overtakes. Do you go real deep and try to push that apex out as late as possible so you can kind of charge away into the next sector, or do you optimize the corner, take it as a double apex, and then lose a little bit of cornering speed, but potentially lose a little bit of speed on exit, but potentially get through the sector faster? Considering what comes after, I can't say I'm 100% on which one's going to be the better, but I absolutely know that coming out of the final corner, and I believe it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I believe it's going to be either corner 4 or 5, the sweeper right before you make the left-hander going back up the hill. That's definitely going to be one of those important exits so that you can have top speeds as you make the long run at the full throttle sections.
That full throttle section does look great fun to drive. It's going to be a case. I feel it's going to be a case of sticking with drivers in front of you to try and maximise the slipstream through there into that last turn. Because that little uphill left-hander, it's just over 90 degrees, so it's an overtaking opportunity if you can really make it work.
For sure. And considering that it's uphill, the effect of dirty air should be minimized somewhat, as the suspension will be loaded up as the car tries to make it over the crest.
Do see Michael got across the line just in time. I think he's on a valid lap. I'm not getting sectors flashing up from there. Maybe he's already invalidated the lap. We'll see as he comes into this last corner. He's still pushing for certain. Rides the curb there, just comes into that last corner. Is it wide? Is it going to be an improvement? It might have been, but it didn't let us know. It was, went to put him up into the 120s, but not enough to actually move him up the places. We'll just pop over to the hold screen until the comes over, and take this moment, the chance to have a look at the standings. And going into this race, it is unsurprisingly Johan Karolzak leading in the Pro class ahead of Alex Romsix and Angela Scotti. 30 point gap there, and I don't think Alex is actually with us this evening, so it could be a chance for Scotti to really move up that field. Charlie Morgan holding on to the AM lead with 117 points to the joint second place cars of Alex Wood and Chris Overstreet, who had a great run of form last week. And well, we wanted to try and keep in close at the top of those AM standings today.
Yeah, and for those of you that are joining us for the first time, this will be a series of three 20-minute races. Race 1 is set by qualifying, and a second qualifying session will be held after this race to set the grid for race 2, and then race 3 is a full reverse grid, so it will present some definite challenges for those that finish well and opportunities for a number of the other drivers. We've seen some pretty major upsets in the previous weeks.
We have, and I hate to be slightly contrary. It's a sprint feature week this week, unfortunately. So it
Oh, it's
is
a sprint feature. I'm
so
sorry.
no worries. So it is one 20-minute race, and then a very short qualifying, and then a 40-minute feature race with a not a mandatory pit stop as such, but the cars cannot make it on a fuel load. So we will see people having to make those strategy calls throughout the race, but they are lining up for the sprint.
Yeah, a different bit of strategy that's going to have to play in for that second race for today.
At 10 seconds, the lights will come on. The revs rise. It's Johan Karolczak from Zach Finney on pole. And away they go. And that's a great
Everyone
launch
seems to have
from
made
Johan.
it away clean.
It is. They fan out down towards that turn 1. It is a very slow turn. Alex Martinez holding. Oh, and
there's some chaos
carnage
in the back of the field.
Yep, that looks like Benji Beams and Night Last coming to blows in turn 1. And there's a big cluster of cars going through the Castrol Omega, trying to just hold on to their positions through this technical section.
Yeah, from that incident, it was really hard to try to get a grasp on who made contact or who dropped the car there. But it just looks like it was maybe one too many wide going into that initial corner, and it just collected the back of the field and presented an overtake opportunity for a lot of the others.
Absolutely. We do have our leaders here. This is a fight for the AM lead. Two classes of cars here, the AMs and the Pros. And it's Sean Smith on the back of Alex Woods, looking to make a move for the AM lead, and does in the second to last corner. And that's Michael Hassanali off in the gravel along with Darrell Cole. And I think Sean Smith has actually run into trouble there because he's dropped out of that AM lead battle. And through all the chaos, Chris Overstreet's leading the AMs again.
It's been a big 2 weeks for Chris Overstreet with this one and last week's races.
It does feel like he deserves a win at this point, given how hard he's been fighting. Does have Jacob Hine behind him, and then a second and a half back to Paul Kingsbury. But he's trying to get away at the moment through this technical sector. He's not fond of this first sector, he was saying in the chat earlier.
It just feels like this first sector is going to make you feel every bit of understeer you have in your car setup. And if you're trying to have a stable car for the high speed, it is definitely not going to be a friendly part of the track.
That is Charlie Morgan and Paul Kingsbury running into difficulties there and dropping down the field. Michael Hassanali did drop through the floor for a second there, so I suspect that was a ping error. But that has left Chris Overstreet out and in free air there. He's got Jacob just behind him, but then he's got a 4-second gap back to Sean Smith in P2 in the AMs.
Yeah, Chris Overstreet's done a good job of just keeping his nose clean and putting in some solid laps so far. And that, for a lot of the AM drivers, could be the biggest differentiator between sort of a good performance and a mediocre one.
Absolutely. Up at the front, it is Zach Finney still holding on to that second position behind Johan Karolczak. Hasn't dropped in the first 4 minutes of this race, hasn't dropped out of the second behind the leading car, and is on the move here, looking to get up the inside.
Ooh, he had a look at that inside line, but did not quite have the overlap to command the space, and Karolczak is just able to close the door on him. Finney has been kind of sawing away at that gap. He's right there on his gearbox, trying to take a bit of a wider line on the entry, looking to try to capitalize on the exit for the long run. Will he have it? The switchback corner as they head up the hill. Well, up the hill and back down it.
It's right there. Little bit of braking for this corner just to settle the car in. Gets a very good exit.
What was that other track you said Saxon Ring reminded you of?
Hungaroring.
Hungaro. Yeah, it kind of gives me a weird feel of like a mix of Hungaroring and the Portuguese track that I
Uh,
cannot remember right now.
Portimao. Yeah.
Portimao, yeah,
Yes.
Hungaroring and Portimao
I can
had
see that.
a smaller child.
In the meantime, Jacob Hine making the move on track. It's not in class, but that will let him get by Chris Overstreet for fourth place overall.
Yeah, Chris Overstreet doesn't really do him any favors to make it easy, but definitely does not make it a hard pass, as he's I don't know how aware he is of the class, but Chris must have some confidence that he has some gap to the next person that he's up against.
Chris has been racing with us for a long time. I'm pretty sure he's familiar with who's going to be that AM position, those AM racers, who are those pro racers are going to be. So he's just going to be holding on, keeping an eye around him there. Knows he's got nearly 4 seconds back to Alex Martinez behind him in the next in the pro class. And then it's another gap back to Sean Smith, who's second in the AMs. So it's looking very good for Chris at the moment. We'll have a look.
Now,
See if we can find a fight.
yeah, it looks like everything's kind of spread out and calmed down just a little bit, getting into kind of the rhythm part of the track, as there is a bit of an off up ahead. There's not likely to be too major, just like someone ran a little wide, maybe dipped a few tires into the sand. Assetto Corsa's smoke is being very dramatic.
Yes. I don't know what I've done to my smoke emitters, but it looks like a bomb's gone off every time someone leaves the track. But Hassan Ali here looking to make the move on Charlie Morgan for P12 overall. Both these guys out of
This
position.
inside line has been looking very strong over the last few times we've seen it there.
Yeah. Gets the move done. Just up ahead of this now, there is a three-way fight for P9. Jati Kanoji from Benji Beams from night last. It looks like people are really struggling to follow through that technical section and line themselves up for the long downhill flat out section.
Yeah, it's hard to get a read on how that's playing out, but I'd have to drive the track to get a better sense for what is causing that.
Oh, once we watch Benji Beams loops the car and Night Last goes off in sympathy. I think Benji saved it there. Yeah, in fact, he's taken the place of Jati Kanoji ahead of him, briefly.
They've gotten all mixed up at this point.
That has let Mike Hassan Ali come into play there, just behind these two. And of course, Charlie Morgan.
Oh, that is Benji Beams falling down, as we see off in the background, off sideways and in the dirt.
It is Benji Beams, and that was Jati Kanoji with him. Those two were fighting. So
it looks like they may have made contact and just ended up going off on different sides of the track.
Time we'll jump back up. Night Last looking to make a move for P3 in class here on Charlie Morgan. Championship leader not having the best of runs in this sprint race as we come to the halfway point.
Yeah, with the results of this sprint race, it's very possible that Chris Overstreet could put a pretty sizable dent into Charlie Morgan's current lead of the AM series.
About 17 points between them, 17, 18 points between them. So as it stands, as I hastily look up the scoring for the sprint races, bear with. Well, I would, but SimGrid's given me a Cloudflare verification, so it's taking its time to let me in. Okay, so it'll be 15 points for a win. And 30, so it would be a 2 points bite into Charlie's... Well, no, now it would be a 3 point bite into Charlie's lead that Chris would take there for this section. as Jacob Hine appears to have lost connection, DNFs from the server.
Oh, that is quite unfortunate.
I'm sure he will join back in if he's able to. Possibly just a connection issue and a game crash there, but that will drop him a long way down. In the meantime, Charlie Morgan has lost that P3 in class, but we wanted to get it back to minimise the damage to his points lead.
Yeah, currently it's not falling too far off of night last, but definitely not where he wants to be. See how he's able to manage his gap over the next few laps, but that number is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Bit further up, Zach Silver, who seems to be having a momentary connection issue as his car jitters all over the place, but is on the back of Sean Smith. Hopefully his pig will settle down in a second, because I'm not sure that would be very fun for Sean to drive around at the moment. There we go, it starts to settle, but he is looking for the move. Different class, of course, but most of the time you can't see who's in what class. It's only by knowledge, so you're just fighting everyone. There's like up this little run here as they come over the crest and onto that downhill run. It's the second to last corner, just this little uphill left-hander to go. Can he close that gap down? Just not quite there at the moment. In the meantime, Johan Karolzak is starting to stretch his legs now. 10 minutes gone, is now nearly a second and a half clear of Zach Finney in P2. Diana Bullock has had a moment. She actually got quite far up the field, but has dropped a handful of places there and gone back down to P15. Their closest fight on track, it is Alex Martinez trying to overtake Chris Overstreet. Gotta wonder how hard Chris is going to fight this. He's holding on to that AM lead at the moment. And I'm not sure whether we've lost Jareth, but if you're talking, my friend, we can't actually hear you. But Alex,
No, I had muted for just a second. Someone had stepped into my office.
No problem.
But yeah, Martinez is able to pick the position up off of Chris Overstreet. And as I have to say, shout out for the Under Armour car.
Absolutely. Gets through, gets that P4 overall. Demotes Chris to P5, but he's got a 7-second gap in class over Sean Smith. With 7 minutes left, it's going to be a big ask. And he's on the fight back as well. Takes to the inside line of the first pass of the Castrol Omega. Not quite able to hold on to it as they go through.
Yeah, as Chris works his way, well, I guess not his way up the track, but holds on to that position. The biggest thing is the pro drivers that are behind him are trying to get by him so that they can at least have an opportunity at those that are further up ahead. But like you said, with Smith 7 seconds down and Martinez 14 seconds down from the next driver in class, that is more or less just a moral position, not even one for any actual gain. But here now we have Zach Silver with Hassan Ali and Smith.
But all this plays into Chris's hands because Smith is under pressure here, trying to hold off two pro drivers around him. It's like you don't really think about the class places. You're just racing everyone at this point. And that is a very defensive move from Sean Smith there.
Yeah, Smith is driving like his life depends on this position.
I mean, it'll be a good haul of points for him as well. He's had a rough couple of weeks in the championship and wants to recover But Zach Silver in the Minardi colours, going round for the outside, down into turn 1. Not able
Yeah,
to make
Zach
that stick.
definitely had the Smith finds himself blocking Silver once again going into T1 there. Silver couldn't quite get the overtake done as Hasanali falls onto the racing line, and that backs Silver up into the hands of Hasanali.
There's still a little bit of a twitchy connection there for Zach by the looks of it, but he's holding on to place there. But that's lets Sean break away slightly. 3/10 gap there, and he's desperately trying to hold on through the far section. I suppose. Oh, Mike Hasanali. I think, not sure whether he had contact there, but turns the car, goes into the gravel. He's got a nice gap back to night last. He had a nice gap back to night last, who has come through to take P8 overall.
Yeah, I wonder how Hasanali feels about that incident there. I don't think there's anything really that could happen there because Silver was trying to dispatch with Smith, but Smith just didn't have to give the position up. So just caused problems for Hasanali. Now, as the race draws down to a close, it looks like Finney is trying to finally turn on the boost and pull up to Karlazak.
It does. They were a second and a half apart at one point, but something's clearly happened, and Zach Finney has closed that gap down to 3/10, and he's right underneath the gearbox of Johan's car at the moment. I think that's Charlie Morgan. They're going to go past on the outside. Just not quite ready to make the move into the final corner. So Johan knows how to defend for a lot of the time. He doesn't have to. But Zach's got the slipstream there. You can see the overboost. Johan goes to the inside, covers it off, puts Zach on the racing line. Will he be able to switch back underneath the other car?
Oh, that is a very clean exit. I don't think Zach is going to find any room between these two corners to make anything happen. But there is the opportunity as we come out of this next set of two corners. Zach tries to find his line and open it up just right. He could get a really strong charge out of the final corner on this long run up the hill. But it does not look like Karlazak has provided any opportunities. The gap is just staying what it is.
Looked like a little bit of a rear end slide for Johan there, but I don't think Zach was quite able to capitalise on it. You'd think that there would be a lot of slipstream down through this far section, but they don't seem to be able to close up the way you'd expect them to.
Yeah, I'm not certain how. I'm not super familiar with the RSF4 car, so how well the slipstream is modeled between these between them racing in close proximity.
Back onto the main straight now, and Zach is pushing on. He's lost about a tenth over the course of this lap, but very consistent from these two drivers here. For all that they're taking slightly different lines and routes through the corner.
There is a driver off as these two pull through, but they are clearing away off the track, so it doesn't really cause any issues. But like you're saying, they're taking two different lines. I feel like the lines are serving two different purposes. Finney trying to optimize the exit on every corner to try to find an opportunity to pull up alongside Karlazak before the next apex. And Karlazak either is trying to stay as close to the racing line as possible just to keep his lap times up, or going just a little defensive. Oh, and that's wheels off for Finney. Finney losing a big chunk of time into this final sector. Looking like he was trying to open up that corner just a little bit too much, and it ended up biting him this time.
Absolutely has. That's from 3/10. He's dropped to 1.8 seconds behind. Second and a half lost there. In the meantime, there are still fights going on. That something appears to happen to...
Yeah, it was Overstreet and Silver.
Yeah, something's going on the timing there, and it's lying to us, because I think it's Zach's connection causing chaos for us.
Yeah.
Especially when his car seems to be going through corners sideways.
I just say that's just his immense skill.
Gotta go left to go
We'll
right.
call it temporal drifting.
In the meantime, down near the rear of the pack, and this is a big haul of points that Charlie Morgan has lost in his championship on today. Paul Kingsbury had the overspeed, but turns the car a bit too far and ends up off in the gravel in the fast section.
Yeah, the back end just seemed to fall away from him, so it's unfortunate.
Try and see. Weirdly, for a sprint race, it has spread out quite a lot over the first couple of laps here, and never quite recovered. But it is that man, Johan Karaszak, on his final lap here. Comes through the last corner. He held on to a very stern challenge from Zach Finney there. Comes across the line to take yet another win. Zach Finney just a second and a half behind him. Angela Scott's quiet race, but comes home in third place. Alex Martinez making his way through the last few corners. Meantime, Paul Kingsbury and Diana Bullock have finished their races a lap down. Alex comes across the line, and behind him, to take his first AM win of the series, Chris Overstreet.
Yeah, I know he has to be feeling good after that, and I don't know if he can, or I'm pretty sure he'll be looking up at the timing table now to see where exactly Charlie Morgan's going to come in the result of this race, and he has to be feeling real good about how this comes to an end.
P2 comes the way in the AMs goes the way of Sean Smith. Michael Hasnally brings it home 7th overall, ahead of Night Last for an AM podium in P3. Alex Wood P4 in class. Zach Silver brings home 10th overall in the end. Benji Beams will come across for P11 overall. Jason Kanoji P12. Charlie Morgan, a unfortunate race for him, comes home, I believe, 6th in class and P13 overall. That will not be what he'd have wanted from this race.
Not in the slightest. That's a really painful result from everything he did today.
Absolutely. And so 18 finishers. Jack Arnew and Jacob Hine finishing a couple of laps down. Looks like connection issues for Jacob there. Looks like they're continuing there as the server boots him out. But Jack Arnew comes home, brings home P17, a couple of laps down. I think probably a victim of some of those early chaos. The early chaos. Johan Karaszak in the chat, giving it the hello, the big hello there. That's another win for him. I believe, I'm pretty sure that will be, as I have a quick check, the standings when it loads. Yep, that's 4 out of, no, hang on, out of the 7 races we've done so far, because it was Sprint Week last week. He's won 5 of them and come P2 in the others, and this makes it 6 out of 8 with that first sprint race win.
Yeah, it's definitely growing to be quite the commanding lead.
It is indeed, and we'll just once my OBS stops playing around, we'll just throw up the standings again, just so you can all see where it is. Obviously those numbers will change after this week, but Johan very much putting his hold on the championship here. But I'm pretty sure Angela Scott will be up into P2. And Zach Finney, of course, will have also made some headway up the field there. It's very tight in that pro field. Now, the big question is, how much of a gap will Charlie Morgan have lost to Chris Overstreet? We are just waiting for the server to change over. And it has, and I will jump back in and we'll get some cars on track.
Yeah, that was I was saying that was a lot, but the race did tend to spread out quite a bit for a sprint race. But now that we're getting ready for the main feature, it is definitely going to start to mix up a little bit as we start to see drivers mix up the strategy.
Yeah.
And actually, over on YouTube, what a track gutted to miss this week from Pavot.
James Lepave, who is P4.
Lapav, excuse me.
P4 in the pros going into this week. It is a really good track. It's that I've never quite gotten on with that first sector, I've got to admit, but I'm not very good at technical driving, so that's entirely a me issue. But that the rest of this track, it's just so much fun to fly around. And we will jump back over to possibly the live images so that I can give them to Jarek. Otherwise, he's trying to learn and do this broadcast from radio. Half a sec.
I was going to start the no video chant. I'm pretty sure it's a very regional and cultural thing. But there's a chant like whenever like there's supposed to be audio or music playing, so it's like no music, clap, 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 clap. But
I mean, you can tell that's an American chant because it doesn't have nearly enough swearing in it.
Yeah. I'm gonna save the series of jokes that I have that go down that rabbit hole. We're back for practice. Look, I'm just gonna say I blame you all for sending the Puritans.
Yeah, that's probably the problem. I mean, if you ever want to laugh, watch the comparison of American football chants versus British football chants, and it's just brutality.
Oh, I love it so much.
Oh, I can't remember. Since we're just rabbiting on because it's practice, and these guys are just doing laps for fun at this point. It's the bloke in Atlanta who leads the chant, and it's just some bloke screaming "fight and win" and looking very smug of himself as nodding around, looking in satisfaction as everyone repeats it to him. It's like if you tried that on an English terrace, you would be a dead man.
I'm trying to remember whose joke this was that I heard, but it's an older stand-up show from like the mid 2000s talking about experiencing like chants at American games aren't anything. If you go to a British game and like playing with football, when it's like international games, there are rivalries that go back hundreds of years that are based on like some real stuff. So like, I went to England Germany game and the Germans did their chant something in German, but like the British chant, if you won the war, stand up. And we don't really have that.
Yeah. I mean, the England-Germany rivalry is a spectacular thing. Once went to a pub stand-up gig in Liverpool. Famously, there's a church that was bombed in the war, just down the street from where I went to uni. And I was in the pub just up from it, watching the stand. They had a German stand-up comedian come in, and first thing he said was, "So that church down the way, was that us?" And just nothing. It's like someone would come up to him and said, "You bombed our chippy," and it's like, we weren't trying to. The chippy was not a strategic target. Oh dear. It's like, yeah, great guy. It's fantastic.
So much fun. Who are we watching? Is
we are watching
trying to do the 360 line out of the the third to last corner, the corner before the long run. Not quite the ideal way to go through there. Typically, you want to keep the car facing forward.
Yeah,
but,
10 out of 10 for effort, 0 out of 10 for execution on that one, I think.
Yeah.
Meantime, we're going to have just a little moment while the server will tick over. So, we'll just show what we've got coming up next in this championship. This is Saxon Ring, round 4 of the championships. We're into the second half, and it's still everything to play for. Off to Jerez Moto next week for our second sprints week. So that will be the three times 20 minutes sprints that gave us a lot of fun last week, especially with the full reverse grid for race 3. And then finally, in a couple of weeks, Portimao for another sprint feature week. So it's gonna be a fun way to end the championship, and it's reminding me that I need to go set up the next championship on SimGrid, because otherwise it's going to be a very difficult start to the season.
I appreciate you're so far ahead. I am absolutely horrid at planning to set up my seasons.
Myself and Scotty were having this conversation last week, so the problem is we've got so many toys in the toy box with AC that you have to plan ahead, because otherwise you're never going to fit anything in. There's a championship coming at the start of next year that Zach Silver's been pestering me to do for 2 years, and we finally found a slot for it.
Oh man, I need to. Well, I'm not privy to these discussions, but I want to get back to racing. I very much took a season off because, as I mentioned before, it was before the stream started. I injured my shoulder, so trying to do a whole lot of sim racing this season didn't seem like the best way to potentially recover.
Not completely.
But trying to power lift also is probably not a good thing for it either. But that's I have to pick my poisons. But I want to get back. Like, I'm getting the itch. Like, I've not been racing nearly as much as I want to. So we will see when I make my return. I had like one good send off with my decent race at Sebring, and then I could never repeat that high.
Well, we will drop the calendar, however, because it's been sat on screen for a little bit there. As we do get underway for the sprint qualifying, these guys are only allowed to set one flying lap, so they're on their outlap at the moment. Given it's a 1 minute 20 lap here, it has had to be very explicit that they are only to set one flying lap rather than adjust the timings.
Yeah, it is a little precarious here because not only are you worried about making sure you execute near flawlessly to get that one shot for your qualifying done, the spacing that you find on track to do that lap is important, because you could just as easily be tripped up on your push lap by having a slower driver ahead of you than you could by just messing up the track yourself. You see Scotty weaving, getting ready to go in that first sector, the first car on the track to start their flyer, trying to put some temperature in the tires, loading it up, coming into the final corner, and let's see what Scotty can do.
It comes out that final corner, and it will be that run down to turn 1. Everyone on track at the moment making sure they're out to get that single lap in. The main thing you don't want to do is miss out on your lap completely. Times coming in, these are just the outlap times. They do count, but they won't be anything close to the true pace of these cars. And here's Scotty and Zach Finney.
Stumble.
Very much.
Yeah, I was saying, if you stumble as you make your push lap, that could very well be the time that you're gonna have to lay on. And that appears. I don't know where the line is there, but Scotty may be at risk here.
Yeah, we're not getting oh no, we are getting a sector. We do get a sector through, so that does mean it's still valid. Just see as she's pushing through this into the high-speed sector. Zach Finney not far behind here. Then it is a couple of spaces back to Johan and Charlie Morgan and Alex Martinez together on track.
Yeah, I know those two are not super happy about being tied up there. Martinez appears to be behind Morgan, and that's a pro driver stuck behind an AM driver the rest of the time. And that is Charlie Morgan off the track. That 136 is going to have to be Charlie's time.
Zach Finney goes top. Johan Karolzak comes in, though, with the 120.0. I don't think there's
9/10 of a second.
Anyone who's going to top that. Tyler Bullock up to P4.
Diana Bullock really locked in for this one, putting in a 1-2-3. And more times are coming in. AM drivers are improving. Knight last up to first position for the AM drivers.
Jacob Hine into 4th place overall. We've still got a few guys to come. Jack Arnu coming through. Goes to P9. Sean Smith coming out the last corner here. Jatin Kanoji not able to set a time. And goes P5 overall and into the AM-class pole. What can Daryl Cole do? P10 overall. Zach Silver comes across the line, goes P4. Alex Wood up into P2 in class. And the one man left to set his time is Michael Hassanali. Comes across the line and it throws us straight back there. He did go up into P4 with a 121.2. It did not give us much time to actually digest the results there. But we'll throw them up on screen there. Jan Karazak from Zach Finney, from Angela Scott, from Michael Hassanali. Zach Silver comes in P5 ahead of Sean Smith and Alex Wood. Night Last, Benji Beams and Diana Bullock round out the top 10. Chris Overstreet in P11 ahead of Daryl Cole, Jack Arnu, Paul Kingsbury, Charlie Morgan, Alex Martinez and Jatin Kanoji. And I think Jacob Hine is reconnecting. He seems to be having some issues this evening. And that will put him... That's put him up onto last on the grid for some reason. It's deleted his time.
That's not gonna feel good, but it is a long race, so it is there is room for improvement.
Yep, I tell a lie. It has put him up into P6 at the tail end of that lead pack of pros who were able to get those times in. Alex Martinez and Jatin Kanoji not able to get times. I'm guessing that Alex and Charlie possibly had coming together. So they are going to have to fight through from the back of the field. It is Sean Smith on the AM-class pole in P7. Ahead of Alex Wood and Night Last. Chris Overstreet, our Race 1 winner, down in 6th in class. But Alex Wood and Chris Overstreet both looking to take chunks out of Charlie Morgan's championship lead this evening.
Charlie Morgan is having a bit of a day to forget here. First a poor finish in the first race, and then this incident during qualifying are not gonna really inspire a whole lot of confidence in where he's going to be standing after this round.
No, it's going to have to be a big fight for him to get through that field. He's going to have to make it through and try and minimise the damage done to his championship.
Yeah, this is worth double points to a sprint race for this one, correct?
It is indeed, yes. And the lights will come on. 6 red lights, the revs rise. And it's away they go.
Very long hold.
Ooh, but it's Johan straight launching into the lead there. Zach Finney possibly caught out by start there. Does hold on to P2, but is getting swarmed by Michael Hassanali and Angela Scotti.
Well, there appears to be a car off on the inside, but there's no big swap of positions like we saw at the start of the first race.
Jatin Kanoji and Daryl Cole there looking at having a bit of contretemps at the back, but have survived their way through. And Alex Martinez already struggling off the start there and has dropped right to the back. But it is Jan Karolzak leading away again, up over the crest and onto the downhill run.
And this time still staying in touch, but Hassanali not falling too far behind.
No,
Hassanali and Scott are still very much in the conversation.
I think Jack Arnu might have had a connection blip there. He has come back from the pits and is rejoining there. Ooh, Paul Kingsbury off
that is
in the gravel with Alex Martinez.
Martinez is likely pushing, trying to make his way through the field, but just did not find the space he needed.
Not finding his way to pick through. This is Benji Beams on the attack on Night Last. And this is for P3 in class. Not quite there. Very well held by Night Last. Charlie Morgan is overtaken by Jatin Kanoji, drops down to P14. That's not what he will want from this start of this race. We'll jump up to the leader. Zach Finney is on the attack again, looking to try and get that lead away from Johan Karolzak.
There's a car sitting off to the side there.
Oh, we jump back onto Jacob Hine just as he runs it wide, going towards the last corner. Keeps it straight, rejoins safely on the outside, but that will cost him a handful of positions.
Yeah, he's really trying to, the car not quite back up to speed, and a gang of competing AM drivers sweeps through and force him to the outside. Just no real good opportunity there. While not competing with him directly for a position, these drivers are fighting against each other, not wanting to give any ground. And unfortunately, that just happened to leave Jacob Hine out.
This is the battle for the AM lead, as Alex Wood in the in one of the Vocaloid cars is on the attack against one of the retro colour cars, as he looks to try and get past that Peugeot liveried car of Sean Smith. Of all the retro colours that people picked, I don't know why Zach and Sean have gone with Minardi and Peugeot.
I honestly didn't even know Peugeot ran a formula program in the past. I learned something new every day. I can teach you about the Vocaloids. You can teach me about the retro cars.
I'm pretty sure they were an engine supplier for McLaren at one point. Not a very good one, if I recall correctly.
McLaren definitely has a history of picking just the best engine suppliers out there.
But this fight is on, and Alex Wood is all over the back of Sean Smith, and I think he suffered a bit for aero wash there.
Yeah, I was looking as if he was trying to find an opportunity to pick up some extra speed, but it did not work out for him there. I was going to ask, is the Minardi car just running a Red Bull livery the long way around?
It's something like that. It's just, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I know Tom Watson hasn't been able to make it this evening. He sent me his livery early. He at least picked the John Player Special livery. If you're going to run a retro livery.
As much as I do love the John Player Special, it's just one of those, like, it's used so often, it almost feels a little overdone at a certain point.
That's fair.
Like, I really was. I thought I saw someone was running a West Computers livery out here at some point.
No, could be. No, I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember who's actually sent me liveries at this point. We'll jump back down as Alex still right back with Sean Smith here.
You're wondering about commentary. We're just here watching Alex Wood try to find his way back into the slipstream of Sam Smith. I honestly not the biggest moves that he's been able to make here. Slipstream not doing him any real favors on the long run down to the start finish line.
Apologies for the silence there. I just started choking on a piece of cookie, which was really, really helpful for commentating purposes.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine.
Nightlast has lost that position in P3 in class to Benji Beams and is now trying to get it back. But it just seems to be... It seems to be this technical sector that's really making up a lot of whether or not you can attack. Because if you lose someone a bit through there, it's really a struggle to try and match their pace. I suppose they're all topping out down through the fast sector.
Yeah, these F3 cars F4 cars only have so much power, and I'm imagining if you set up at all to effectively handle that technical section, you're going to start clipping on that long run.
Absolutely, and it's even with the slipstream, I think I've got a feeling these don't have much you can change in the gearing. But Benjamin runs it a little wider. There's some dubious usage of track limits, but in the lead of the AMs, Sean Smith does lose out to Alex Wood going into the last couple of corners.
Overstreet not having the best of times right now. Down in the traffic against Knight last, about 0.3 of a second slower in this last lap. So going to have to possibly lean into whatever his strategy is for this race to find improvement over those around him.
Oh, Paul Kingsbury.
Speaking of this, Paul Kingsbury.
Yeah, he has come to grief in the... Oh, and this is not good. The leaders are coming up on him now. And Zach, we've missed it somehow. Zach Finney has overtaken Johan Karolzak for the lead.
You're right.
And
Karolzak is 2 seconds down.
There's definitely been a drop somewhere there that went unnoticed as we were watching other fights. Well, that's a big chunk of time for Zach Finney to have over Johan there. And so we'll jump down.
Stormbot 13 is saying that not having a great time. We got a bunch of disconnects. I'm assuming that's Jacob Hine.
It is. I'm gutted to hear that, Jacob. Yeah, hasn't been able to be with us for a while, so it's not nice to hear that. It's when he's coming back for a race.
You can just blame it on all those people messing around with DLSS 5 or AC. That's what caused your problems.
Why? In what world was that a good idea?
You can blame my simple eyes. I think it looks cool, but I know that like you're just going to be suffering performance until like there's a better integration. Of all the things I think that like it doesn't look bad to apply on, like car games are not the worst because it's not like it's something that changes that constantly. So I'm more fine with it here, and because like you're aping reality more so in a lot of other places where like stylistic interest is not really something you're hampering by applying the AI filter over a racing game.
The thing that gets me though is it does eat up a big chunk of your processing power, and almost all of us spend half our time turning stuff off on racing games to get the maximum amount of performance overlooks.
Also very true. Maybe if it's like fine for a broadcast situation, maybe. Yeah. But that's me wish casting.
Yeah. That would be a good application for it to help with what we're doing here, putting streams out to people. But we are following now. Chris Overstreet on the move, goes to the inside of Knight Last, down into turn 1. It's got to try and make it stick, but it turns to the outside for turn 2 and round as they go down into the Castrol Omega. But I think Knight Last got a little bit loose going into the corner there and has dropped back into Chris's clutches on corner exit.
Yeah, it's definitely proving difficult for Overstreet to make these moves forward. Currently sitting 4th in class, but speaking of improving, Charlie Morgan has been able to work his way up slightly, but has not made a particularly big improvement.
No, this is going to be a big chunk of championship loss he's going to take from Chris, who has found some pace in this series. Really seems to have unlocked some pace in this car over the last few weeks. Given how going into race 1 he was saying, oh, it's not going to be like last week, I'm just not doing well at this track. Yeah, okay. Race 1 win.
I was trying to get a sense for who that was off the track, off the final corner. Oh, it was Kingsbury.
Having a rough race. Chris up the inside again. And I think this time he's going to force. He had the edge there, but he's going to try and hold it around for the next corner. Rides the curb. Through the Omega. Great move from Chris there. Gets it done. And takes the P3 in class from Knight Last.
Yeah, Night Last is going to be immediately in his mirrors, and on the exit of that last corner, didn't look like he could really get the power down, and led to him losing the car for just a little bit.
There's a train of cars behind Chris at the moment. From Night Last, Benji Beams, and then Jatin Kanoji down in P11. Oh, but that looks like chaos there as Benji Beams and Night Last.
Big loose. Oh, there are more.
Yeah. And I'm not sure who that was they ran afoul of. That I think it was Charlie Morgan. And everyone took a big hit there.
By the power of stream delay, it looked like Night Last briefly came alongside Kanoji, and the two of them went sideways for a moment when they were 3 wide, and picked up Charlie Morgan for good measure. It was definitely not a good moment for these drivers.
No, that's a very broken car by the looks of it for Charlie. It doesn't appear to have a steering wheel, which isn't really helpful to us. So I don't know how
I guess it got
happened.
flung out of the car during the incident. He's just gripping the steering shaft for dear life.
Driving with the force, apparently. So, oh, but still having to
see
change
him.
gears.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, I was trying to see whether or not he was right-hand down there, but he seems to... Not having a steering wheel seems marginally worse. So it looks like all those drivers involved in that car are taking their pit stop, and I suppose that is the one advantage. At least they're in the window to do so. But Charlie's week definitely going from best to worst, given he came into this week leading the AM Championship. Meantime, further up at the other end of the field, Jan Karolzak has broke back into his pace and is closing down Zach Finney for that race lead. And since he has a steering wheel, he'll probably be able to get around the track quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this is going to work out between Vinier and Karolzak. One of them is going to have to pull the trigger first, or if they're gonna just try to ape each other's strategies. But I'd imagine about the time, if they're looking at lapping a big chunk of the field, maybe the best time for them to try to dive in.
Definitely, it's making that strategy call is key to these feature races. It is not it's not a criteria they have to hit. It's not a mandatory pit stop as such, but they cannot make the race on a tank of fuel. So it is 1.5 usage for the feature race, just to make sure that everyone will have to take that stop. Oh, so Charlie Morgan's still in the pits. That looks like a lot of damage he's having to repair.
That's unfortunate. Hopefully they find him a new steering wheel.
I wonder if he's turned it off for his display, and for some reason that means it's not displaying it for us. I didn't think that would
affect our side. I
didn't think it would. I know Jacob does the same, so I can't check on his because he's not appearing in the server anymore. But Paul Kingsbury and really struggling this evening. Has looped it on pit entrance. That's not where you want to be, especially as we're coming into the pit stop phase.
Yeah, he's trying to ease it in instead of backing out onto the racing line. It looks like he's just going to go on and take the pit stop.
Fair play to
that's
Paul.
What I thought. Never mind.
Fair play. He was being so careful to make sure that he didn't collect anyone there. And it's a horrible position to be in.
Yeah, that is a blind left over crest as you come up to that point. So it is just a jump scare for anyone coming up there.
God, yes. I mean, I've been spun in pit lane before. Don't know about you, Jared, but it's not pleasant because especially when you know people are going to be coming in.
I have Austin powered myself at the Spa pit lane entry.
Ooh, yeah, I've done that one. The worst one I've done is at Bathurst on the run down the hill.
No.
in a touring car, grew a TC1 touring car, which were very big.
At least like there, well, depending on at what point there is, because there's like the runoff part right before you get into the where the main barricades are. If you go up there, you're kind of not in anyone's way, but you're just gonna have to kind of wait to find your way
Yeah.
back on.
Oh no, I was in
I
the
think there's like
I
that
was in
one
the
neck
fun
there.
bits just after that where it really closes up,
Yikes!
and it was like I almost wanted someone to hit me just to turn the car around. Johan Karazak, after that momentary incident, Johan Karazak closing up to within 2/10 there momentarily, and he is moving with intent to try and get past this car of Zach Finney. Just over 2/10 between them on that race, but Johan in the 120s, Zach just about still in the 121s. We'll see. It doesn't give us a fuel readout, unfortunately, so we can't see whether they're close to their pit window. But sure, they've got to be thinking about it.
If I were Finney, I would make if I were Finney, I'd make Carlzak work for every bit of it just to wear him down more and more. And as soon as that opportunity presented itself, I'd dive into the pits to go on and capitalize on him kind of being off his pace into that follow-up lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as soon as Johan passes, it's going to be dive for the pits. And once you're in that second half of the race, you know that however much you're filling up is going to be to the end of the session. But these two racing so closely with each other throughout the course of these two races.
Yeah, it's effectively a reversal of what we saw for the majority of race one. Carlzak finding himself onto the bumper of, well, I guess a gearbox. Oh, and Carlzak is the one to pull the trigger first. Hopefully he got onto the limiter in time. Carlzak is in, so Finney is going to be pushing hell for leather to attempt to make this lap count.
I suspect Johan was taking advantage of one of AC's tricks in that you don't really have to hit the limiter. You just it will automatically slow you when you get into the pits. You can dive in at maximum speed, and it will lock the brakes if you don't do it right. But it will let you take that little bit of extra speed in. One day I'm going to turn that. One day I'm going to turn that option off and not tell anyone. And then and leave pit lane penalties on. It will really annoy people.
To bring it to another popular racing game, Forza is effectively the same way. You don't think about your pit lane entry speed because it automatically drags you down to pace.
Yeah.
So you are basically just flat out until you hit the pit lane. And that's a very wide line from Finney. And that may be a critical moment right there, setting some wheels out and onto the dirt, costing only tenths. But as Carlzak gets out of the pit lane and is moving once again, that could be the position whenever Finney puts it into the pits himself.
Yeah, Johan has rejoined in P4. That really did cost him. There, Johan's closed up in a big way to Angelo Scotti in front there. It's about an 11-second gap, so we're looking around 11, 19, about 25 seconds between Zach and Johan at the moment.
I wish I was tracking what the time loss was on the pit stop to get a better sense of it, but it is it's something to look out for.
It's hard to tell on AC just because the way it doesn't really record anything, which is not ideal for this series, but it's we work with what we've got really.
Yeah, and speaking of the pit cycle, that has left Christian Overstreet as the new leader of the AM class.
Yeah, Alex Wood and Sean Smith both taking their stop. We've got to see if Chris has done a lot of strategy races. If he does it right, he might be able to take advantage here. There's a good chunk of time between them.
And the later he pushes it, the shorter that splash is to get it to the end.
I guarantee he will have worked it out well in advance. He's well known for doing that.
Yeah, getting that strategy locked in just makes it all the easier to execute as soon as you drop the car in, and just having to dial up your strategy just makes your life so much easier.
What will make it easier for him? This is effectively the net lead of the AM race, but they are very much fighting, and when you're fighting, you are inevitably slower on track. Sean Smith on the attack on the back of Alex Wood's car at the moment. So we just
and I believe that's Overstreet into the pits now.
It is indeed. Let's see where he comes out. It's going to be very close.
Oh, and he's down to third.
The two leaders do go through, but he's not far off the back of them.
Yeah, he's been released and is rolling once again, so he should be able to hold on to that third position in class, as the next car is well over 20 seconds down the road.
If these two are fighting as well, that's going to be a big... He might be able to get back into the argument for the AM win in this race.
Yeah, he's got just a little under a sprint race's worth of time.
Speaking of the fight, it was side by side there for a moment. Sean Smith looking to make that move on Alex Woods, but just not able to make it stick at the moment. But all over the back of the Vocaloid car, looks to the inside on that, going into this second to last left-hander. Does get the move done.
Yeah, Wood isn't able to do anything to respond and is just left there to try to pick up the pieces as Smith charges on and takes the lead of the AM class.
Wood immediately back on the fight though in the slipstream, goes for the inside into turn one. Has the line closed? Can he close the door? He does indeed. Great fight between these two. And just to commiserate, that is Charlie Morgan going a lap down.
Oh, that has to feel bad right there. Looking up at the strategic lead of the cars up ahead. So I believe Angela Scott had stopped before Karlazak did. Didn't she?
I think she has, yeah, but importantly, Zach Finney has just done his pit stop and has come out still in P1.
Yeah, Finney had, I believe, ran it about down as far as he could, losing only about 17 seconds to, I think it was about 20 seconds to Angela Scotty right behind him. But that leaves Karlazak 3 seconds behind.
Apologies, that was meant to be down there, and I think it's the wrong config tower anyway. That's annoying. I was trying to get the pit, whether or not people had done their pit stops, but it appears to be playing me around. So unfortunately, we're going to have to assume everyone has done their stop at this point. I'm pretty sure Scotty has been in.
Yeah. It is a close fight for the top three in each class, as currently the top three in the pro class are separated by just over 3 seconds, and the top three of the AM class are about the same.
Oh no!
Oh no, that's Angela Scotty into the pits. Oh, that is going to be a ways to go there, but that opens up Karlazak to take a charge to catch up to Finney up ahead, and that is about 4 seconds, but the time is creeping down by big chunks for a moment there. I almost believe Finney may have had a moment.
I think it has a little bit of a struggle to rectify it on the tower until they cross the first couple of timing beams. Scotty does come back out of the track, 16 seconds away off the back of Jan Karlazak, but crucially about 6 seconds ahead of Michael Hassanali in third. So the big winner through that pit stop phase, very much Zach Finney, who has come out in the lead and is charging away in this feature race. The closest fight on track is for the AM lead, as Sean Smith desperately wants that place back from Alex Wood. Well, Alex Wood, of course, is looking at this as his opportunity to take that championship lead away from Charlie Morgan. But he is charging there, 5th, 6th, and 7th overall. But this AM Championship fight very much hotting up and has really been thrown open by these races today.
Yeah, for sure. With 12 minutes left, we are. I know I keep comparing it back to the sprint race, but we saw how much evolved in just the span of that 20 minutes. So it is basically the sprint race and basically 2 sprint races stapled onto each other is what the feature race is, if you want to look at it that way.
Now, just looking at last lap times, it's very comparable. Alex Wood a 1:23.169, Sean Smith a 1:22.565, Chris Overstreet a 1:22.540. It's not out
Overstreet,
of the woods yet.
Yeah, Overstreet with just a bare smidge of more performance than the 2 up ahead, but it is not a big differential.
Sean Smith has got back through on Alex Woods there. And I don't think these two are going to stop fighting anytime soon. And the more they do, the more chance we have of a three-way fight for this AM lead.
Yeah, and that is Overstreet down to just under 2.5 seconds. Chris is standing back there like that gentleman from the Godzilla movie. Let them fight.
Absolutely. Just let them go at it. Hope that they take chunks of time out of each other and let him close up and swoop in. But Alex Wood to the inside in the far sector. Can he make it stick? Yeah. Sweeps through, closes the door. But if the last lap was any indicator, what we're going to see now is Sean Smith stick behind him, get on in that slipstream and try down it into the first couple of turns. Doesn't have Alex wise to it, closes the door, makes sure that that move's defended against. And all of this is letting Jatin and... Oh! No, I wasn't. I think that was someone ahead of them having a moment rather than Alex and Sean himself. But these two have been
that is a car in
places.
The teens.
It's an absolute place trade from these two. Up at the front, however, just to check in, Zach Finney last lap 1:21.2, Johan Karazak a 1:20.7. I've got a feeling that was Diana Bullock.
Yeah, that was 14. Yeah. Diana Bullock had a very good showing in the one-shot qualifying, but unfortunately it has kind of come apart as the race has proceeded.
She is pushing onwards, holding on to that P14, so it's a good championship spot for her. But she'll want to get it moving forward if she can, but a long way off the back of Benji Beams in P13.
Yeah, currently she sits as the last of the cars on the lead lap.
In the meantime, Zach Finney just behind, I think that's Night Last there. It is indeed. To put a lap on him and put him between himself and Johan. And Johan has closed down that time in a big way for over the last couple of laps. And the problem with being leader is you're the first one to encounter any traffic ahead of you in these feature races.
Absolutely. Finier has been trying to do his best to keep that gap as wide as possible, but unfortunately, it has not been working out for him. Going from that near, I believe it was 2.5 second gap when Scotty went into the pits a bit ago, has now come down to going on just about a second. And is looking more and more like Carlzak is going to find himself in striking distance of Finier.
7 minutes and 45 seconds left this race, and if you want to know what a second looks like on a racetrack, it's just that little gap in between these two cars. I've had bigger gaps on the M6 than I'm seeing here. They will keep pushing. It's going to be all push all the time for Zach Finney up the front there. Just see
speaking of, Carlzak is working on getting into that 1 second gap. Overstreet has broken into that distance as well. Sam Smith being only 7/10 up the road.
That's indeed. Sean Smith running into a bit of an issue there. One problem is Alex Wood has absolutely stormed away now that he's got clear of Sean. Sorry, excuse me.
All fine. Yeah, Overstreet possibly looking at a potential P2 in the race. And Carlzak has broken down into striking distance as well. 7/10 of a second opening up now.
P1 and a P2. I'm pretty sure Chris would be happy with that, but we will jump back up to our lead fight. So you can see it edging closer and closer, and it's going to come down to the wire, and I've got a feeling that Zach is going to have to start driving defensively sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that cannot feel good. Having someone like Johan behind you has to feel like you're driving away from the Terminator. It's just lap after lap has been punishingly consistent, and every little mistake that Finier makes is being punished by losses of lap time.
Yeah, from experience, it is not fun seeing Johan just getting closer and closer behind you. It's like having the shark from Jaws chasing you. But he is getting there bit by bit. Both of them very consistent, but Johan just seemed closing on the brakes there into the first part of the technical section.
Yeah, it's like I said, like any little mistakes, locking up the brakes just a bit too much. Back in, stepping out under throttle, moment of hesitation as you try to get the car settled going into a corner, and that's a 10th, that's 100th there, and that time just inevitably keeps creeping in the wrong direction.
Like he just doesn't see. He seems to find that time into the braking zone, but retains it under acceleration, which is almost the more difficult part. You can brake later, but keeping that control as you come out of the corner as well is where you're going to find time to really attack. Down to 3 attempts between the two of them now, and he's very much within striking range here.
Two class lead and class podium fights developing on track right now as we tick under 5 minutes remaining. Probably 3 or 4 laps remaining in this race. Speaking of the pressure, Carlzak, as one of the back markers moves out of the way, stuffs Carlzak momentarily as both him and Finier try to open up the line for the exit out of turn 1, and it stumbles the pace of the 2 lead drivers just a bit.
Traffic give it and traffic take it away.
Absolutely. Both of them recovering pretty nicely. The gap kind of rebounds to where it's been for the last little bit, but that is going to start getting interesting. Both of them are coming up on traffic, only one more car ahead of them, and then it is a lot of open air, and Finier has to be playing please traffic, please help me.
I've got a feeling that's Diana Bullock they're going along the inside of. She sticks to the racing line, remains predictable. I know she actually has got onto the inside there to let them through, but there's only so much she can do. And I think that was a little bit of a wheel bang with Johan there, and that has cost him.
Oh, yeah, that's down a second. Yeah, there's only so much Diana could do. Going side by side into that section there was very unfortunate.
Yeah, but it's not. The problem is, in those sections, you can't let off either because you're just creating another hazard when you do that. But that has dropped it down to a 1.2 second gap and has really put the pressure swings back towards Johan.
Now Christian Overstreet looking for the opportunity. 0.2 of a second separate him and Sam Smith. But Sam Smith, Steve Smith.
Sean Smith, yes.
Sean Smith,
yes,
one of them.
None
of the ones I said.
Sam Smith's the guy who sang the last Bond theme. But
yeah, and Steve Smith is a loudmouth sports announcer on ESPN. I think I like Sean the most out of the three of them.
But he is having to work very hard here to hold on to this P2 in class. Chris all over the back of him looking for that position. And this is big championship points for Chris and Alex Wood. Both of them were tied on points going into this race. Chris with a win from the first race. And obviously that one pays out half the points of this race. So now he's got to really try and maximise this point while Charlie Morgan's having a bad day. And this is going to blow the AM Championship wide open at that top three. Charlie having a really rough day at the office, followed by Chris and Alex both claiming a win in different categories. It's like it couldn't really have got worse for Charlie Morgan this run of form this evening.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be Charlie Morgan's no good, dirty, rotten day out here.
He will be begging me to posthumously implement a drop round, I guarantee you. But
50 seconds remaining on the clock. Looks like the white flag may come out this time around.
Yep. Zach.
Is it 40 plus 1?
No,
or is it just 40?
It's just 40. And Chris.
I think it's going to be one more.
I think so. They're going to cross the line with about 20 seconds to spare.
Yeah, the white flag is out on this lap now.
When do I say it's not plus 1? I assume it isn't.
I'm pretty sure we had this discussion on the last feature.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's just 40.
But it's going to be a run to the line because Johan Karolzak is right back under the rear wing of Zach Finney. We have two fights in the two different podiums. Chris Overstreet still on the back of Sean Smith. They come into the far sector, not quite there yet, but Johan Karolzak also right there as they come down into the far section for this last run down to the finish.
Yeah, they come around the final corner before the long run, and Finier still leads the way. Karolzak trying to find any opportunity presented to him, but Finier so far has not set a foot wrong.
If it's going to happen, it's going to have to be the dive bomb of dive bombs into this last corner. He is closing. Zach defends.
Stormbolt saying it is plus 1, so we will see when they cross the line this time.
Yep, they go for another lap.
It is plus 1. It's another time around, and it is on the gearbox for Karolzak.
Goes into the lead on the outside, but Zach, with the inside line, holds on to it.
Not able to make a switchback happen to get underneath them, and they are wheel to wheel coming through the turn 2 and 3. And it is Karolzak on the outside, a car facing the wrong way. Karolzak looks like had to blink just a bit to make sure nothing happened, but Karolzak holds on to the position up ahead. Karolzak on the inside as they make the round, but Finier comes back to it. Finier leads as they get into the high-speed section, And will Carlzak find something to make happen here? Carlzak with a little bit more speed on the exit and in the slipstream.
Both of them running it just slightly wide out that
Wide.
corner. It's going to be last corner madness. They are right with each
Carlzak
other.
is weaving and hunting for any space there, but Faye is not letting it open up. Like you said, final corner. Carlzak cuts it in a little bit earlier, going for the inside on the final corner. It's like Indianapolis, who's going to have it as they come out of the last corner. It's a sprint down to the end. They are nose to wheel, and it is by a nose. Carlzak gets it over Finier out of the final corner.
What a finish! That could not have been closer.
Oh my gosh.
Angela Scotti, we have a last couple of people then. Angela Scotti completes the podium 25 seconds off the back.
Overstreet's closing up on about a half a second off of Smith. Let's see how Overstreet's going to manage to wrap up this race. He's been sawing away at Smith's position over the course of the last few laps. They enter into the high speed once again. Overstreet having quite a bit of a gap here, but it's going to be who's going to be bravest onto the brakes to hold the most speed into this final sector here. And so far, Smith does it pretty cleanly. Oh, they're stuck by traffic. Overstreet getting the inside.
Oh, that's going to be contentious.
That's Smith off in the sand.
Oh. He holds on to the podium in class at P3. We did miss Alex Wood crossing the line, and I do apologise. But Alex Wood takes the win in the AMs. Both the class races going down to the wire as Chris Overstreet takes P2 in the AM class.
I'm going to use the magic of YouTube to try to watch that back again really quickly. I wish I could show you. So we have a moment where Overstreet is able to get to the inside of or she's able to get to the inside of Smith. Where is the traffic come into play?
Johan on the track saying sweating. I'm not surprised, mate. I'm not surprised. You could not have fought harder for that.
Overstreet, not Overstreet. Carlzak absolutely putting on a clinic right there at the end of wheel-to-wheel competitive driving. Hats off to both Carlzak and Finier on that final lap. Absolutely outstanding. And looking back at it, it looks like Overstreet momentarily is able to get to the inside as they come up onto the back marker, who was setting up for entering the final corner just a little slow. What is it? Smith takes the outside line, but finds himself right behind the back marker, and Overstreet has nothing but clear road ahead, causing Smith to have to correct. And as Smith corrects, he overdoes it, and that drops him all the way to the outside and into the kitty litter. And that is how Overstreet was able to make that happen right there. That is a heck of a way to round out the podium for our two classes today.
Absolutely. What a pair of finishes there. 300ths between the two leaders at the end. And you couldn't, Zach Finney could not have done any more there. It was such a run to the line. But I will run down the results just to, because we missed a few people there. It was Johan Carlzak finishing 300ths clear of Zach Finney. Angela Scott completes the podium ahead of Michael Hassanali. Zach Silver in P5 was ahead of Alex Wood, who takes the AM lead. The AM win. Chris Overstreet in P7 in P2 in the AMs ahead of Alex Martinez, 8th on the road, and Sean Smith in P9 completing the AM class. Podium. Jatin Kanoji brings it home P10 ahead of Night Last, Benji Beams, Diana Bullock, who fought her way back up to P13 there. Ahead of Daryl Cole, Paul Kingsbury, Charlie Morgan, who will really not be happy with his day at the office, Jack Arno and Jacob Hine, unfortunately suffering from technical difficulties for this race.
I agree, Joe 312 over on YouTube. Holy shit. That is we've seen quite a few finishes in this series so far, but that is definitely the most hectic that we have had.
It didn't stop. It was just that entire last lap. They were side by side for almost the entire first half of it. Had what about a small straight where they weren't alongside each other, and then they just carried on, just fighting until the very end. But what
you don't
a
get
race
a
from
finish
these two!
like 300ths of a second.
Oh, right.
That was certainly one.
It definitely was. Right, I suppose we have to pay the proverbial bills. Those were the standings going in. Johan Karolzak will obviously have held on to his lead. We'll find out soon enough what happened to the AM standings, because both Alex Wood and Chris Overstreet taking wins with a bad week for Charlie Morgan. Angela Scott, I suspect, will now be up to P2 in class as well. Zach Finney, I think, missed the first week, so it will have had to is recovering a bit on the points on that score. But we have 2 more rounds to go, and next week it's 3 more sprint races. So we've seen that just about anything can happen on those. So it's going to be a interesting week around Jerez Moto. And then we'll be finishing up with our finale at Portimao in a couple of weeks' time. But if you've enjoyed tonight, we still have more streams this week. Tomorrow night, it is the LMU ELMS GT3 Cup. One of our 2 streamed LMU championships for this season. So if you've enjoyed this, come along tomorrow and you'll see plenty more carnage as GT3 cars take to the track. And if you want to race with us, we have space in our Thursday series in the AC Evo Mazda Cup. And on Sunday nights, we have the LMU Sprint LMP3 Championship, which is always good fun. But that was a hectic finish. I need to lie down. I don't know about you.
I feel like I want to smoke after this one. I'm going to take a moment. It is as I'm in the States, if you can't tell by the difference in the accents, I still have some shopping and the rest of the day to put in. So it has been nothing but a great show. Thanks. Shout out to all the drivers that we had today. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. If you're over on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as you'll be able to see all the VODs and occasionally catch these races live from us. And if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow the channel so you can be able to see the next races live.
Yes, follow us on YouTube. It helps when Formula One copyright strikers for daring to have an onboard from a car. So we will be back tomorrow for more streams. In the meantime, be good to each other and get on track and get racing with us.
Hey, take care. Bye, y'all.